Well, ahoy, wooden boat fans! My name's Rich, and welcome back to Journey of Sailing Yacht Syrinx. In this episode, we're going to dive right in to clearing a spot in the woods here for our little boatyard that we plan to build. We're going to get a crash course in heavy equipment maintenance, and all the while, we're going to, in parallel, navigate a maze of government rules and regulations around vessel ownership transfer in the hopes of avoiding environmental catastrophe. It's been indeed a very interesting and challenging start to our journey. Quickly set the stage, last episode we went back over to Port Townsend to finalize the sale for $1 of our 1936 Bertham Gauntlet Syrinx. We prepared her for trucking to our site just across Puget Sound here on lovely Camano Island. And several times during in the last episode and in the comments on YouTube, the word perseverance has come up. And I suspect perseverance is going to become a theme of our journey. We have indeed had some challenges arise that were unforeseen. We're working through them, as you'll see in this episode. But as a mentor, a great mentor of mine years ago told me, worthwhile pursuits are rarely easy. So I'm trying to keep that in mind. So let's go. Well, we're out back on my lot, and today's the day we're going to start clearing to make a spot for Syrinx. I'm going to take advantage of the last of this late October or mid-October fall weather. Hopefully have a little bit more good weather before winter sets in. Right behind is kind of where it's going to go, and I've got to clear a spot for it. Got a few things to move around back here, and got to sort of widen the driveway leading in here so that we've got room for the truck to get through with the boat. All right. Kind of the project overview here is we've got about 10 or 15 foot of thick of blackberries, vines that we need to push back toward the tree line, clear a path back here. We've got a number of small kind of scrappy alder trees that I'll probably be able to push over or saw over. One good size cedar tree that not a particularly good lumber tree because it has two big widowmakers up at the top that break off about halfway up the trunk, but we need to get that one down. I was trying to minimize the number of cedars I had to take down, but I just need the width there to be able to have room for the boat and boat shed. Coming over this way, this is the side of the future shop, and that's going to get cleared shortly here also. The plan was to build that over the next winter and spring, so we're going to be accelerating that with the boat going on. Yeah, I don't know how many of you guys use chainsaws in your boat building or other endeavors, but if you've not tried one of these preferred sharpeners, PFE RD, they're from Germany, you're in for a treat. They're available on Amazon, and Steel markets them also in their colors, but I think their steels are made by Ferd. It's the exact same design. They've got a pair of round files and a flat file, and they're so easy. The round file just goes in the gullet against the cutting face of the tooth, and the flat file, the silver bars here index onto the adjacent teeth and set this flat bar just the right depth to dress the raker or depth gauge so that you get a nice cut. And all you do is you put it in there, you line up the edge of the handle. There's an arrow, and you line it up with the direction of the tooth, or parallel to the bar basically, and then you give it like four or five little strokes with a little bit of pressure on the tooth, and that's all it takes. I can work my way around a chain in 5 or 6 minutes, and I think I'm slow. I put a little piece of wood in the tooth to mark where I was at, keep track as it comes around, and then you reverse direction, of course, and do the other teeth. and it's really great. Gets them nice and sharp really quick, and can't recommend them enough. Helps to have sharp chains when you're doing this kind of work. Oh, the joy of a sharp saw. All out of gas. All right, let's try that again with gas in the saw. Work a little better probably. You know, I try to push these small alders over with the machine if I can, because that'll pull the root ball out and saves you a lot of work. But this one's a little big and it's leaning the wrong way. So what I'm doing is pushing on it with the machine in the direction I want it to fall, and then I'm going to saw, and it's kind of nice. The machine provides a bit of a shield over me too, if in case a branch or something falls. But it does make me nervous every time I'm trying to saw a tree that isn't leaning the way it's supposed to. I'm not a pro at this. Don't worry, we're leaving plenty of trees for our furry and feathered friends. This is a Bard's owl. He's sitting right about where the end of the boat shed's going to go. And he has been with us for years. We see him frequently and hear him almost every night. And he's turning his head away from the camera there. Must be a little bit camera shy. Bard's owls are very patient hunters. He will sit there like that for an hour or more sometimes, waiting for something to move on the ground. And then he gets dinner. Well, we're out here for another day, clearing an area for the boat, and I got a helper with me today. This is my son Ronan. Ronan, you want to introduce yourself to the boating world?
Yeah, hello everyone. My name is Ronan Johnson. I just turned 22 years old. I'm in college studying business. I just go to a community college around where we live. It's called Skagit Valley Community College. I'm a sophomore there, and something about me is that I'm a black belt in Taekwondo, so don't mess with me. And let's see, I also have raced soapbox derby for like 11 years of my life, and I'm a 9-time national champion, so that's pretty cool. And yeah, I'm really excited about this boat project because it's something new, something that'll give us something to do around the place, and yeah, I'm really excited to get started.
Yeah, Ronan and I have done derby together for years, and this boat will be the next chapter in our father-son shenanigans. Okay, do you remember how to run this run?
Yeah.
Let's see. And how do you lift up your bucket?
The left.
Yep.
Up.
Up, back, heel to go up, toe to go down. And how about tilting your bucket?
Right heel to go down. Toe to go down.
Yeah, you got it. You'll get it as soon as you get running.
All right.
So go ahead and push that pile. Well, the plans for the Boatyard got a little bit more complicated. As we've mentioned, we're building a shop to go next to the Boatyard, kind of over here on my left, and that area needs to have several big cedar trees taken down, big 2, 3, 4 foot diameter trees. And one of them we're going to cut up for siding for the shop, so I'll have somebody mill that for me. And that when we started to lay out where the boat's going to go, right over here over my right shoulder, it became apparent that several of those trees are going to have to be dropped uncomfortably close to where the boat is going to be sitting. So we decided we better just do all the clearing at once. And that'll get us a fast start on getting the shop put together this spring too. So gonna have to take care of that, work with somebody to help get those trees taken down. They're bigger than I want to do, and I need to have them hauled to a mill to have them made into lumber. So it's going to be a bit longer here clearing than we'd initially anticipated before we can bring the boat over. Well, because we decided to clear more area for the shop, I'm putting a lot more hours on the old Bobcat than I'd hoped to. I ended up blowing out a main drive belt tensioner. So as the machine's down to replace that, I decided to do a whole bunch of other maintenance on it just to make sure I'm good for the remainder of the project. So I'll be first to admit sometimes I can be a bit of a perfectionist, maybe to a fault, and that's why I'm now in the middle of a November rainy day and windstorm under a blue tarp working on my Bobcat instead of out back getting our Boatyard done, which is what I'd like to be doing. Long story short, I had to take the undercarriage apart to do some 1,000-hour service on the Bobcat. I decided as long as I had it all power washed and clean and taken apart, probably for the last time for several years at the rate I use it, I would go ahead and paint the undercarriage, which badly needed. And so I've taken on a week-long project to strip and paint the undercarriage and then get all the rest of the servicing done and hopefully get back to working on the Boatyard. So 3 weeks into our site prep, we're about one night from having the Bobcat back in service, which will allow us to do the last of the clearing, the light clearing, make way to be able to safely take down those large cedar trees and get them to the mill. We've got, after that, we're going to have some grading to do, bring in some crushed rock, some gravel, and then we'll be ready to bring Syrinx over to our boatyard. And this brings us to the last bit of the story here. And this part's a very important part of the story, but it's a little more difficult to show you guys with YouTube Gold quality compelling video. So I'm just gonna have to tell you with mainly words. So it turns out that buying a old yacht, wooden yacht for $1 is a little more complicated than one might believe. It turns out our state passed some laws over the last few years that has made it significantly more difficult to transfer ownership of larger and older vessels. The backstory here is that over the years there have been an unfortunate series of episodes where old boats would end up that were unseaworthy would end up as derelict vessels in state waterways, sometimes in areas where you've got, a lot of environmental sensitivity, endangered species, you name it. And it also creates a financial liability for the state. So this is all, very legitimate concerns. And I think the laws are well meant, and they're maybe not perfectly written, but they're definitely well intended and probably needed. Specifically, in 2014, vessels that were over 40 years old and over 65 feet have to have certain activities taken care of in order to make sure that they're not going to create a hazard and it happens during the transfer of title. In 2020, the law was expanded to include vessels over 40 years and over 35 feet. And that's where Syrinx got drawn into the fray. The upshot, is certain conditions have to be met in order to be able to transfer title. It's fortunate, though, that the law does include some provisions that are helpful for cases like ours, where where a qualified party is intending to remove the boat from the vessel from state waters or ensure that it does not enter state waters, and for purposes of salvage, scrap, responsible scrap, or restoration. Now, in order to be able to show that you're going to be able to do that responsibly and not create, another downstream hazardous condition, certain conditions have to be met, and that entails a lot of paperwork, some of which I've got in front of me here, and other activities that need to be taken care of. You've got, it involves a survey, marine survey, tax issues, the bills of sale, a affidavit that the proper prior owners have been contacted, et cetera, et cetera. And we're in the middle of kind of wading through that. I think we've got a handle on it. It's taken quite a bit longer and quite a while, honestly, to understand what needed to be done. But we're getting there, and I think it we'll be moving along. So that's where we stand right now. Come on and join us again on our next episode. And if all goes well, Syrinx will be moving over and on the move for the first time in quite a number of years. Before saying goodbye, I'd like to just give a big, huge shout out to our YouTube viewers. Your likes, and particularly those that have liked and commented on the video, the thoughtful comments, insightful and encouraging, have really made a difference. They make this worthwhile. So thank you so much for that. And finally, please take care.